Okay, guys, this is Teddy Martin. Listen, I'm going to give you a panorama of the end times. Listen, I'm going to tell you some things. Some of it's going to be shocking to you. Some of it's going to be real. And I don't want to take too long to make the video too big, so here we go. First of all, right now, we're in prior events. Don't let anybody tell you we're in the tribulation period yet. Because, see this down here? There's a pen and a piece of paper. That's called the covenant with death. That must be signed in Israel before we can enter the tribulation period. Okay, so what's going to happen? The first horse rider will come out after that covenant is signed with Israel. It's a peace accord. It's going to last 7 years, which ends about right in this area, 7 years. Okay? So you got 3.5 years, you got 3.5 years. Then what you're going to have is 7 seals are going to open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After the 7 seals open, there'll be 7 trumpets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th one, the rapture of the church will occur. That's when God harvests his believers. And if you aren't a believer, folks, at this stage of the game, you are playing with fire. Okay, it's time to get your heart right with God. Sell out, man. I mean, I've got to check in my spirit about some stuff I've done. And, man, look at the 7 trumpets. Look, the parousia of Yeshua Messiah, who they call the Christ. It will happen at the last trumpet. That lines up with 1 Corinthians 15:51. But let me explain. There's many false teachers out there. And God tells us, hey, many false prophets will arise and will deceive many. Listen, a lot of people are going to be deceived, folks. Okay, so pay attention. The first horse that's going to come is the false Christ. That's the white horse rider. He's going to come in like he's a great, really terrific guy, and he's going to be the king of Babylon, by the way. And the king of Babylon is the president of the United States. I don't believe that Trump is it, but he's going to come in peacefully, and then all hell's going to break loose on the believer. Now watch this. The red horse rider comes next, and that's the horse. The red horse represents wars. There's going to be a huge war, and you can read this in Ezekiel 38 and 39. It's going to happen around here, and when you read Ezekiel 38 and 39, it's talking about 2 wars. One at the end of the 7, and one at the beginning of the 7. Now, when that war ends, you can expect a peace accord. Now, look, I want you to look down here. Here's the rise of the Antichrist and the 8th beast empire. This is the beast system, the New World Order. This is what's coming out in front of your eyes right now. If this don't wake you up and let you know that this is coming, Bill Gates, Dr. Anthony Fauci, all those guys, Barack Hussein Obama, Bill and Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, they're all involved in this. And the only one that's keeping us out right now is the king of Babylon, which scares me. I don't know if he's going to come in peacefully and then turn. And I don't know if this is the king of Babylon that's in office now or if it's one to come. But keep your eyes out and pray. Okay, now, here's the Babylon, the great city on 7 hills. This is the harlot, false religion, philosophy. This is clearly Rome. Look, the unsaved world is in turmoil. They don't know what to do. Peace and safety is going to come. Here's the professing church. Here's the decaying of the compromising church. This is a stench in God's nostrils. Don't compromise with your faith right now, guys. Look, here's the faithful church. Watch. It's small. Faithful. It's going to be protected during everything that's coming until that rapture of the church. But let me tell you, here's the part that'll wake you up. See this guillotine? This represents the martyrdom of the saints. Listen, there is no pre-trib rapture. You're not going to be out here. Don't buy that this is Jesus coming for you. This is the rise of the Antichrist. Here he is. He's coming. He's a false Christ. Then the wars. After the wars will come the black horse, famine. Then is going to come plague and death. The martyrdom of the saints is going to happen all through here. They're going to be killing people for their faith in God because they know the New World Order will work without you in it. So the day of the Lord is when he pours out his wrath. But before he can pour out his wrath, God himself, the rise of the Antichrist will pour out his wrath. Then it's encountered by man's wrath. Then it's encountered by the day of the Lord, which is the bowls, the 7 bowls of God's wrath. You are not called to suffer God's wrath if you're sold out to Yeshua Messiah. But I'm telling you right now, you do not want to be here when those 7 bowls are poured out on the world. You do not want to be here, guys. Listen, right now we're in prior events leading up to this war. This war is coming very, very soon. It will be with Israel, Persia, Libya, Beth Targamah, which I personally believe is the upper regions above Turkey, and Russia. And they're going to come down like a cloud covering the land, and they're going to invade Israel like a cloud covering the land. They're going to hit the United States with an all-out nuclear assault, and they're going to invade on horses and bow and arrows. This was written 4,000 years ago, and people make fun of it. But Zechariah tells us that their eyeballs will melt in their mouth, in their tongues, in their sockets as they stand on their feet when they invade Israel. Guys, we're in the last days. This is the panorama of the end times. There's so much here, it would take me hours to explain it all to you. I'm just telling you, get ready. This peace accord will come after a big war. And this false Christ is going to come out and say, let me lead you in this war-torn world. And personally, I believe it's Prince William. You watch and see if I'm right or wrong. But I personally believe it's him. And then the red horse, the black horse, the pale horse. Millions of people are going to die, guys. I'm not talking thousands. I'm talking millions. Sell out to the King of Kings now while you have time, for such a time as this.